Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing sea sediment jasper, and it is one that I did a long time ago, so we're gonna have to have a couple of understandings between you and me. Now, this is the one that's like super famous, like everybody loves this one so much. Okay, which is fantastic. Couple of things about it. It was done with marker fiends, and I don't have marker fiends anymore. I don't remember what colors it was done with, so we're kind of winging it. And yeah, that's about it. I don't remember how I did this. I'm just kind of going with what I know. Um, so yeah, just thought I would let you know that, and we're just gonna kind of figure out how it goes and how it turns out. And please understand, it's not gonna look exactly like that because you can never recreate exactly what you did, but we will try. I'm going to use polychromos since that's what I have and it's pretty much my favorite. Um, Good thing about it is that marker fiends are, I believe, oil based, although lately there have been some stuff out about them being wax based, so not real sure about that, but I could always like email them and ask or something like that. That could be cool. First thing that you start with on this kind of a gem is the lines, all the little veiny things. Now, that can be tricky because if you use a white or a base like that, it's going to be really hard to see. So, for you guys, I figured I would do it in cream, and then you can go over it with a white if you want, or maybe we could use a yellow or something like that. So, let's go for this. When I do lines like these, I'll bring it up here so you can see it a little bit. I kind of think about like, I don't know, just like waterfalls and like how things connect and are super flowy, and I don't know, it's just kind of something I do without thinking about it too much in general, because I don't want it to be like really calculated. I want it to look very organic in the way it looks. So we're just gonna go with that. And then, like I said, just don't overthink it too much, because we don't want that. Um, Now, as it's a stone, we're gonna have our lighter spot up here and our shadow down here behind it. So, because it's not, I have no idea what that is. It's not translucent, it is solid or opaque, depending on what kind of vocabulary you would like to use there. I've got little flies buzzing around in here because the door to the patio has been open too much. I've got kind of like this little cluster of shapes down here. Okay. Well, those are our lines. I don't know how well you can actually see them, but I promise they're there. Now, I didn't push too hard with my cream, and what we're going to immediately go in and do is kind of help to show those off. So what I want to do is take, I think I've got here dark cadmium orange and regular cadmium orange. So I've got my dark cadmium orange, for those of you who don't know. This is the regular cadmium orange, and then we've already used cream. It's just so that you guys can see the colors, and that might help you pick one out. I've also got dark cadmium yellow, which is very honey-esque, I think. It's very buttery type yellow. And then my dark is middle cadmium red. And it is really, really dark, but that's okay. And for shadows and such, I've got both of my warm grays. This is warm gray number 5, which is a dark gray basically, and light gray. I grabbed the warm grays because they are going to go better with orange, because orange is such a hot or warm color if you're arranging them on that kind of temperature scale. There you go, so you guys know what colors I'm using. And so I would use cooler grays if I was doing blues or greens or purples or even some of the like more bluish pinks and stuff like that. As long as they have like a more of a cool undertone to them that go towards those colors, then that's what I do. Reds, oranges, yellows, those tend to be much more warmer colors. Although some of the greens can be warm too, just depending on what you're doing. Okay, so let's go in here. I grabbed, let's see, which one is this? Cadmium orange. So I just kind of want to go in here and show off where exactly my lines are. So I'm going to kind of color around them. And then we're probably going to go in with white and help reestablish those lines, because we don't want to lose them. Not at all. Just going in here. I'm not being super careful. I'm just kind of getting a base of color in here. And light layers. You will need layers on this, so be light with your pressure. You don't want to smush the tooth of your paper, depending on what you're using. I use cardstock almost all the time. It's super cheap cardstock. I usually get it at Walmart, and it has just like the best tooth that I like for coloring, because it's pretty smooth, but it still gives me a little bit of tooth. So, and then I've also gotten a different kind of cardstock, also from Walmart, because I'm ridiculous. And I don't like that cardstock nearly as much for coloring. So it's kind of one of those, if you're picking out stuff, get little packets of things and try things out until you find one that you just really, really like. If you're one of those who likes to print out coloring pages or have stuff to do gems or whatever. What I would not do is go buy like an entire like a ream of cardstock or something like that without trying it out and liking it first, because that's just ridiculous. Okay, so I think you can see the lines a lot better now, but just to make sure, I'm gonna go in here with my white, which is getting so tiny, it's so sad. And using decent pressure on this, because I do not want these lines to go anywhere, and neither do you. And what you're doing is kind of almost indenting your cardstock just a little bit to help you retain that line. And we're going to build darker shadows around our lines, and then in the middle spaces will be lighter towards the middle of each of the spaces as we get there. So I don't know which ones I did over here, which ones I didn't, so we'll just go over them all again. Alright, that feels right. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so what we're going to do is start building in those lights and darks. We've got kind of our lights here, so I'm going to go ahead and go into, not straight down to our dark. I don't want to go straight down to our darkest dark yet, but we can go in and start building some of the shadows and edges around our lines with our dark cadmium orange. I'm going to go around this too. And just go slow with it. Take your time. Don't rush it. I'm doing a little bit of rushing because I don't want this to end up as too long for my camera and have it cut out on me. So that's all this is. Which is one of the reasons I'm actually on Patreon, is because I want to be able to do longer tutorials and talk you through them. For each gem, especially for more detailed ones like this. I don't remember how much time I actually spent doing the original one, but it was a while. When I do bigger, more detailed gems, they can take like up to, like an hour for me. And since I have the attention span most of the time of like a frenzied squirrel, it's probably a good thing that I only do these and I don't do a lot of other coloring, because oh my gosh, I would never get anything done. Some of the bigger pieces that I do, the paintings and colorings, they do take a long time. They can take 6-7 hours. And I have to break it down, or I go into like this Zen zone and I don't even move from my chair for like 6 hours. And then my husband gets hungry and cranky, and I'm just kidding. He would never care. He loves what I do. But I get hungry and cranky for sure, even though I'm doing something that I love. And for me, I'm very much obsessive about stuff that I do, and so I will sit here for 6 hours. I promise I will, and finish the entire thing in one sitting, and then just, oh my gosh, it's horrible afterwards. But it's hard for me to come back to something if I take like a break for more than like 2 or 3 minutes, like go to the restroom or something. Get a drink. I usually have a drink with me. I try and drink lots of water. Yeah, it's hard for me to get back into it if I have to like stop and like make dinner or go run an errand or something like that. It's hard for me to just jump right back into it. Creativity has a mind and a timeline of its own, for sure. Okay, I'm gonna go along the base here. Okay, so that's what we have. You can see our lines now. That's a lot better now. Alright, good job. Okay, so what do we want to step from here? See, I don't remember what I did, so this is kind of difficult for me. I'm gonna kind of go over some of these middles with my yellow. I think it's just cadmium yellow, right? Yeah, dark cadmium yellow. Just grab some of the centers of these. I think I'm going to go over some of my lines too, just for the fun of it. Just to give them variation in color as well. You don't want everything to be the same. So we're just going to do a lot of coverage here. And leave some of these lighter, go over some of the others. Yeah, I'll leave that one. And then, let's see. Should probably work on our shadow now a little bit, huh? Alright, so we've got our dark gray right here. And so our shadow is going to be swooping down this way because our light's coming from here, hitting our stone up here. So we want to make sure we've got our edges. And I know it kind of makes the stone, the colors itself, look a little bit, I don't know, dirty. But that's okay, because honestly, that's what happens when you have a shadow on something. And then if you have a blending pencil or something like that, I would suggest using it to help you get some smoothness in your background. I'm about to use my odorless mineral spirits that I love so much. I like to make sure that I have all my edges at least got a little bit, or have at least a little bit of shadow on them. It helps push it down and round the stone. Okay, as we come out here, you want to use less pressure because you want layers. And you want light colors and light layers so that you can blend them into one another pretty well. And you're kind of making like a half moon shape, right? Or not a half moon, but like sort of like a crescent moon almost, right? So you're like, when you get down here, you're getting a thicker shadow, and then you're tapering it off as you go up and you go around, okay? Soft, soft colors. Soft, soft colors. Like that. Okay. I'm gonna grab one of my little blending stumpy things. Clean it off. Ooh, that brightens a whole bunch of it. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Make sure when you're blending, if you're using odorless mineral spirits, to blend this part first and then go in and blend your shadow. Otherwise, you're going to move a whole bunch of your shadow into the rest of your gem, and you don't want that. So, do that part first, then go in here and do your shadow. With that done and blended out pretty smoothly, the rest of this should go by pretty quick. Alright, let's go down into our darks. Again, we're just going to go around our lines. And some of them you can go over. And you're going to see like a little bit of like, did you ever do one of those crayon resists when you were a kid? I used to do those a lot. Those are fun. So you're going to see a little bit of that, which will make it a little bit easier to go over some of these lines and still have them stay there. So with the width of how much shadow you put on each one, don't worry about it. You want variations, so you don't want it to all be the same. You want it to be kind of random when it comes to that. So, and I am doing this kind of messy because I want it to be very natural-esque. And the more control you put into it, sometimes it looks less than that. And I'm also going to blend it again into itself, so we get some of that smoothness and blending in there. Where did my little thingy go? It was right here. Oh, there it is. Alright. And it's still wet, so I didn't have to, or not wet, but still damp from the first time, so you don't have to like reapply or anything. And this is just from, I remember doing this a little bit from just looking at a picture and kind of trying to figure out how to make that look with colored pencils. So I just kind of came up with doing it this way. Now, if you did this with light blues and white, it would look a little bit like Larimar, I think is the name of that stone. Somebody did one just recently in Gem House. And yeah, if you do this with blues, it would look a little bit like Larimar instead of sea sediment jasper, but that's okay. I'm gonna blend it again. There's a lot of blending that goes into this. Want some more dark over here. And just kind of feel out where you want darker parts to be. And it doesn't have to be in every single one. Like if you're just wanting some of them to have darker spots, others not so dark. Kind of just up to you and how you think it looks. I'm just doing these randomly. So I almost think this one has more definition, more depth of color than the other one, just because, well, these are polychromos, not marcographines. I mean, look at that. This is like got way more color and definition in it. Like, do you see the difference here? Seeing that? Maybe I should have gone lighter. I don't know. Alright, well, it's all good. We'll whip out one of our middle colors and help to bring some of this, tone it down a bit. How about that? We'll just go over a bunch of it. See if we can tone down some of our lines here. Get more of a uniform color, I guess, going. Don't want to scare nobody. I'm gonna get my cream out. Kind of get a lighter blend going up here. So this is where our light's gonna hit it anyway. Yeah, I think that looked better now that we've got it tone down a little bit. And go over this entire thing. Just for kicks and giggles. Then we need to work on our shadow, because our shadow's not deep enough. Okay. Remember your shape, which is kind of like crescent moony-ish. And you really can bring this shadow up quite a bit. And then down here, you want it to be darker. You do, I promise. We're going to go over it a little bit with our dark orange. Because we do want it to blend into the stone. Like, be part of the stone, you know? But we also want it to be shadow, so. Just continue layering and continue layering. If you have your light gray and you want to come up here and do some of the roundness on the stone, you can do that. Just come up around the edges, kind of give it a little bit of shadow. When you're putting a gray over a color, it helps just to like bring the vibrancy of the color down a little bit. And that's a lot of what shadow does, because the vibrancy of a color is often just a direct reflection of how much light is hitting it. And so if we have the light hitting it here, this is going to be more in shadow no matter where you go around the gem or the stone. And that's just what you're trying to convey with the way you color. There we go. That looks pretty decent, huh? Bring some of this up here. I'm going to take some of my yellow. Just kind of go in and put it in different places, giving different tones and values to stuff. Variety, man. Variety is the spice of life, right? That looks pretty good. Yeah? Yeah? You like that? I like that. Same thing with this. I'm just trying to give some variety. And obviously not every single one of these is going to come out the same, which is fine. If we knew that from the beginning, we did. So, and come back in here and pull these lines out more if you want to. You can do that with polychromos, which is cool. And then all that is really left after that is to put on your highlight, y'all. Which, when you're doing a highlight, anytime you do, you want to just follow the shape of the outside of your gem, wherever it is. If it is, you know, a square, you want to do kind of a squarish thing. You guys know me, and I always do like this same like 3-window type deal. But I think we'll do like 4 little panes. And I know this is super messy, but that's okay. I'll show you a sec. Show you my little trickies. Oop. Okay, my pen is like not with it today. There we go, that's better. Sometimes you gotta do like these little like super sketchy marks with it. Oh my gosh, that's just horrible, y'all. Anyway, what you can do is I use a blender pencil a lot just to go in here and clean up my highlights. Help them when they've gotten too far off the beaten path there. Or too far from where I want them or something. Those are horrible highlights, oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on with my pen, man. But as y'all know, highlights can be finicky, so. Okay, so my pen might make me cry, but that's alright. And then just do other little round ones around here, because this is a shiny stone. So, there we have it. And I guess if I wanted to do it over, I might do a few things different, but for the most part, that's what I've done. So, I hope you enjoyed it, and we are totally out of time, but I'll see you next time. Bye.